Cheesy the Podcast, presented by Just Cheesy Productions.
Hi there, I'm your host, Fondue.
I'm Cheesy.
In this week's episode, we're talking all about New Year's cheese traditions.
Ooh.
We're also talking about National Swiss Cheese Day.
Yay.
We're going to talk about a pie and some tamales. We're going to learn about some unique traditions worldwide, and we're going to talk about a big cheese drop.
Whoa.
And this week, we tell an extra special joke
We do.
when we showcase a joke from some of our listeners.
Joke.
Stay tuned for episode 163, New Year's Cheese, on Just Cheesy, the podcast. Did you know that there is something out there called a Bulgarian cheese pie?
There is?
According to the EuropeanDish.com, they say there's a New Year's tradition that every family prepares something called a banista on New Year's Eve.
Wow.
This is a really yummy sounding pie.
Yeah.
It's made with phyllo dough and some savory fillings, like cheese, and then spinach, leeks, rice, or even meat.
Oh, yeah.
They say these pies can be rectangular or even square.
Really?
And one of the coolest things about it is that there are lucky charms added to the layers of pastry. They say coins, small trinkets, or fortunes are tucked within.
Sounds like a choking hazard.
It does, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows to look for these things.
Oh, okay.
They say the family and friends gather together to share the banista, with each person hoping to find a lucky charm in their slice.
Ooh.
And they believe that whoever finds that lucky charm will have good luck and fortune in the upcoming year.
Nice.
And believe it or not, cheesegrotto.com says there's something called a kasseri, which is also a cheese pie.
Whoa.
According to DimitriaDishes.com, this is a sheep's milk cheese pie. They say this is a buttery, slightly salty cheese, and they say it almost smells like mozzarella.
Yum.
And according to this website, the pie comes together in just 10 minutes.
Whoa.
And I'm looking at a picture of it here,
Oh, yeah.
and it looks very yummy.
Yeah, it does.
They say the ingredients are puff pastry,
Ooh.
egg wash, sesame seeds for a topping.
Okay.
They use butter, flour, milk, salt,
Cheese?
a little bit of nutmeg, ground black pepper, kasseri cheese, and some eggs for the filling.
Nice.
According to CNN.com, tamales are very popular in Mexico, especially the cheese kind.
Yeah.
Corn dough is usually stuffed with either meat, cheese, or other additions. It's wrapped in a banana leaf or a corn husk, and they're considered very popular on New Year's.
Yummy.
In Wales, they say that it's customary to give bread and cheese to family, according to cheesemaker.ca.
Whoa.
They say here that on New Year's Day, you would actually be delivering this to family, friends, or neighbors.
Wow.
And Lingoda.com says that in Germany, fondue is pretty popular.
Duh.
I mean, let's face it, fondue is pretty popular all year round.
Yeah.
But they say here, because New Year's Eve can go on for a while, they indicate this is something that would be easy to pick at over several hours.
Yeah.
But even more interestingly, they talk about raclette. And that's not unusual.
Yeah.
You would have a grill in the middle of a table. It has little trays for slices of raclette. It gets bubbly and hot, and you slide that on to meat or vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
But in this article, they talk about the tradition where people would cut open a wheel of raclette, and then they'd put the cut side in front of a fire,
Whoa.
periodically slicing off the warm, oozing cheese.
Yes.
They also say, and rightly so, that the little tabletop raclette grills are actually a little bit less messy.
Oh, yeah.
In either case, it sounds delicious.
Yeah, it does.
Fondue and raclette are not sponsors,
Nope.
but if they were, their ad would go right here. Have you ever wanted to listen to the web?
Yeah.
Well, Newsly makes that possible.
They do?
They're an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android.
Super app.
You can listen to trending articles on the web on topics that you choose and get them read to you in a natural human voice.
What kind of topics?
Sports,
Cheese?
tech, business, science.
Cheese?
I'm sure there's even cheese.
Yay.
They even have an entire section for podcasts.
Are we there?
Of course we are.
Ooh.
It's one of my new favorite podcast apps. They even have digital radio.
Holy cow.
Just go to www.newsly.me to download it free.
Whoa.
Or use the link in the description. If you use the promo code CHEESY, that'll get you 1 month free premium subscription.
Yay. Newsly.
Now, back to the podcast. Did you know that for the last 17 years, Plymouth, Wisconsin has held something called the Big Cheese Drop?
Really?
In the town of Plymouth, Sartori Cheese has this giant wedge of cheese.
It's so big.
They get the fire truck, and it has its big boom
Whoa.
all the way up.
Oh my goodness.
It's kind of like the ball drop in New York City.
Yeah, it is.
This party starts at 7:30 p.m.
Whoa.
They have a band. They have a cheese tasting table and a cash bar.
Yum.
They have complimentary hot cocoa
Whoa.
and a bonfire from 8:30 to 10 p.m.
Holy cow.
And then the big drop happens at 10 p.m. And they said that the first 250 families in attendance will get gift bags of Sartori cheese.
Whoa.
It's time for my favorite segment.
This week in cheese.
January 2nd is Swiss Cheese Day.
Ooh.
And according to nationaltoday.com, they say that Swiss cheese as we know it today was first manufactured in the 1300s in the west central region of Switzerland,
Holy cow.
known as the Emmental area.
Ah.
Did you also know that in Switzerland they don't call it Swiss cheese?
They don't?
And it's because it's made in the Emmental area that it's called Emmental cheese.
Whoa.
And they also say that if you were ever to go to Switzerland and ask for Swiss cheese, they're going to look at you kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
And they say here that in 1850, Switzerland established the very first factory for the industrial production of cheese.
Whoa.
It wasn't until the late 1800s when Swiss immigrants brought cheese from Switzerland to America.
Wow.
When Alfred Gugesberg was in his teens, he was actually studying to make cheese in Switzerland.
Really?
He attended the famous Swiss Federal, I cannot pronounce the next word, it's translated into Cheesemakers Institute.
Okay.
After his schooling, he went throughout Europe and parts of Africa before coming to the United States in 1947.
Wow.
And by the 1960s, he had some time to experiment with local milk, and he was able to develop a new style of Swiss cheese.
Wow.
The biggest difference was that there were fewer holes and a creamier taste, and it was called Baby Swiss.
Yum.
And he said he had to come up with this type of a taste that was more favorable to what they say was the less developed American palate.
Oh, boy.
And they actually called it Baby Swiss because when Mrs. Gugesberg saw the new cheese, it was much smaller than the larger wheel of traditional Emmental Swiss.
Wow.
If you're not interested in Ohio-made cheese, you can actually go to a website called InsideHook.com.
Okay.
And there's an article called A Cheese Lover's Guide to Switzerland.
Whoa.
This article is great.
Yeah.
They talk about hanging out with a dairy farmer,
Ooh.
attending a cow parade,
A cow parade.
and even renting something called a fondue backpack.
Holy cow.
Travelers can rent these and take them into the Alps for what they say is a gooey picnic.
Yeah.
Sarah Cutta's article also talks about a self-serve cheese fridge. Now,
Yay.
we've talked about that one before.
Yeah, we did.
There's a subterranean cheese grotto.
Whoa.
And there's even something called a cheese train.
Ooh, all aboard.
Check out the article, whose link is in our show notes. And legend has it, there's a bit of a bizarre New Year's tradition in Switzerland.
There is?
According to alphazug.com, in Switzerland, cheese has special powers.
It does?
And there's a belief that sleeping with a wheel of cheese can ward off demons and bring good luck.
Doing what?
And beyond this article, I've been unable to confirm if this myth is true.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that this is probably a myth and that it's
Yeah.
better not to sleep with cheese on your pillow. Let's just eat our cheese.
I'm ready for a joke, Fondue.
Well, we've got 2 jokes today.
We do.
One was sent to us by Kathy and Harry on our website.
Whoa.
And the joke is as follows. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
What was left when the cheese factory exploded?
I don't know.
Just debris.
Oh.
Get it? Just debris?
Ooh, I like that one.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, Kathy and Harry. We really appreciate it.
Do you have another one?
Of course I do. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Why don't cheeses bother with New Year's resolutions?
No clue.
Because they're already cultured.
I think the other one was better.
Oh, I know it was.
Yeah.
But this one was just a little bit cheesy. Thanks for listening to Just Cheesy the Podcast, episode 163, New Year's Cheese.
Thank you.
Remember to check us out on our website, justcheesy.com. And you can actually submit your very own cheese joke, and we'll read it right here on the podcast.
And stay cheesy, everybody.